Well, here it is. We've had some unfortunate news about the expansion launch date for the Legacy of the Sith 7.0 expansion for Star Wars The Old Republic. The expansion has been officially delayed all the way until February 15th, 2022. We got a little tiny news post about why, and here's a quick excerpt about the reason the expansion was delayed. Legacy of the Sith is something the team has been hard at work on for quite a while, but as we get ever closer to launch, it is clear that we need a bit more time. We're focused additional testing on the many areas we have changed throughout the game to deliver the experience we want and one that you deserve. Although the announcement itself was pretty short and sweet, they did do a frequently asked questions post afterwards that answers a lot of the questions players were wondering about once the announcement launched. The first question about this expansion pushback was, why make this change so close to the original launch date? And the answer is, as a team, we take our date commitments very seriously, and everyone who works on SWTOR has been working extremely hard to deliver as we'd originally planned. This being our anniversary, we really wanted to share this awesome updates in Legacy of the Sith with all of you to celebrate, so we kept moving forward towards that goal as long as possible, but in the end, the most important thing is quality, not the calendar. Why delay the expansion for 2 months? There isn't any significant bug or single issue that brought this decision about. Ultimately, we want to give the team more time to add polish and to find and fix bugs to ensure we release 7.0 at maximum quality. We also want to do more to include all of you in that process. We're very excited to have this chance to share more on the public test server, so that we can get your feedback and show you some of the changes that have already been implemented based on your past feedback. As mentioned, the team has been working really hard to create Legacy of the Sith, and they deserve a chance to rest and recharge. Our chosen time frame will allow the team to take a meaningful holiday break and still have significant polish time before release. So I'm going to take a quick pause from reading this developer post and talk a little bit about what we saw as players and how a lot of things didn't quite seem finished or didn't seem like they would be finished on time. I'm eternally optimistic, and I assume once we had the launch date then it would come out, but a lot of other players had a guess that it wouldn't come out on time based on what they'd seen. On the test server, we got to try out lots of bits and pieces of the new system, and a lot of players were very interested in what was on there. We got to see a lot of changes to the way combat would take place for abilities, so a lot of class changes. The feelings on the class changes were very mixed. Mostly more towards the negative side, though a lot of feedback was given. I don't know if they'll be changing that or not. We saw bits and pieces of work in progress, user interface bits and pieces of the new character creator, bits and pieces of unfinished hair, bits and pieces of the unfinished loadouts. Actually, loadouts we didn't get to test at all. An unfinished outfit designer with weapon designer not in there yet. So them not getting a chance to test out a lot of this stuff mixed in with the fact that a lot of the feedback has been very mixed. So like I said, the class ability changes haven't exactly been received with resounding applause. And they also recently told us that you wouldn't be able to change your initial combat style. I cover that in a different video, only if you have an alignment special dispensation, and if you're like a Vanguard, you're a Vanguard when you go into the next expansion. A lot of players were really hoping it would work differently, so even the combat style system, which should have been a huge win, was not met with yay, we're so excited, make it happen, as it should have. So now that this post has come out, I've actually seen a lot of players say thank you, or I'm glad that the expansion is being delayed because they felt that it wasn't going to be ready at launch on the original launch date of December 14th. Of course, lots of people are sad and upset and frustrated that it's not coming out with the anniversary, it's not coming out as promised, and not to mention it's not coming out during the Christmas break, which is kind of unfortunate. We'll talk a little bit more about that later, and I'm going to dive back into the developer post. After they answered those two big questions about why is it being delayed so close to the expansion launch, they went into some actual nitty-gritty of questions about how this would affect the future of the game until the expansion happens. So first off, how does this affect Conquest? Total Galactic War will be included in the rotation and will run December 21st, January 4th, January 18th. And the biggest relevant Conquest change will be requiring 100,000 points instead of 50,000 in the expansion. Keep that in mind for the Conquest Week starting February 8th, that you'll want to reach 100,000 points if you want to get your guild rewards on the day that the expansion launches. Next question is, what's happening with Ranked PvP Season 14? As Season 14 rewards are tied to 7.0, the current season will continue as is, ending with the release of 7.0 on February 15th, and rewards will be distributed normally when 7.0 launches in February. So in short, the current ranked PvP season will last until the expansion actually launches. Next question about the new operation, which was originally going to launch after the expansion launched. It was supposed to come out in about January, but of course, wouldn't really make sense for it to come out in January anymore. So the question is, are the R4 Anomaly operation and the daily area for Manon still launching after Legacy of the Sith? Yes, we will want to give players time to be able to gear accordingly, so these will be launching post Legacy of the Sith as originally intended. These are intended to be available for testing in a 7.1 PTS cycle, exact date to be decided. So I'm not sure if this is new news or something I missed along the way, but apparently the new Manon daily area will also come out after the expansion launches, so sometime after February, so I'm guessing maybe March. Maybe April if we're unlucky is when we'll see the new operation. Here's one of the most frequent questions I've seen asked. What's happening with events and their rewards? Any chance for double XP or something extra? So here's the answer. All of the planned new rewards will not be released as they are tied into 7.0. With that in mind, here's the plan for each event. Life Day will run from December 14th to January 11th, 2022 with the current rewards. The 10-year anniversary event will be running for a full year, from December 14th to January 2023. All existing anniversary rewards will be available on the vendor. The new planned rewards will be added to the vendor in February with the 7.0 update, including the contest-winning decorations, those winning screenshot posters for the wall. We will inform players when new rewards will be added. So pretty neat. Life Day is going to start December 14th and run for about a month until halfway through January. And the 10-year anniversary vendor is going to be available from December 14th all the way until 2023. That's insane. Like a full proper year of being able to go to that vendor, pick up new stuff. That's especially going to be great for you guys who maybe aren't around in December, or especially for our newer friends and less frequent player friends who maybe only hop in every once in a while. That means when the expansion does launch, they too will be able to go pick up those rewards if they weren't playing before launch. I've seen a lot of players asking like, hey, since we're not getting the expansion, can we get some other type of event running at the same time, like double XP, double renown? Because, I could work on those renown achievements in the meantime. And the answer is yes. Additional events. Our double XP event, which will also include renown, requisition, and valor, will return from December 20th to January 4th, 2022. So yay, we get about an extra 2 weeks of renown. Double renown or double XP, so that's great for anyone who wanted to catch up any more characters before the expansion to get them to level 75 or as high as they can, and great for anyone trying to work on those renown achievements that will be going away with the expansion. In addition, they're doing something very strange that I don't think anyone asked for. They are probably just looking to see what they could throw in there to fill in the time. So the Feast of Prosperity event, which is kind of meant to be a fall or autumn event, will return and will be running January 11th to February 1st. So if you enjoyed the Feast of Prosperity, especially if you liked running those world bosses, or if you like doing the little cooking event, that'll be kicking around for a full 3 weeks starting on January 11th. Here's another big question I've seen popping up. So the second Galactic Seasons season was supposed to start with the expansion launch, and players, a lot of them wanted to know, would it still be happening on the launch, or would it be happening December 14th? So, unfortunately, what does this mean for Galactic Seasons 2? As Galactic Season 2 is tied to 7.0, it will not be available until the Legacy of the Sith expansion launches. However, it will be available on the public test server for testing in the coming weeks. So this is not surprising news. I think a lot of us were like, hey, can we have Galactic Seasons 2 at least? And the answer is no, because there are actually some major changes coming to the game when it comes to Galactic Seasons, as well as how dailies and weeklies are counted and reset in the game. That's part of kind of a whole new system change that's all tied together. So they can't just give us Season 2 right now, right away. For really involved players, they also answered a couple things about the public test server. What's happening with the PTS? We're opening PTS back up this week. 7.0's features will be present to test during this PTS cycle, with the exception of any that would spoil the story content, of course. This upcoming phase will include loadouts and character creation, and also all recent updates we have made since the close of the previous phase. This is very exciting because loadouts was one of the biggest features that players were wondering about that we didn't get to test to see if it even functioned, much less how it functioned on the test server yet. Last question. What's the public test server schedule? We'll be updating our public test server forum with updates as they happen. PTS will remain open until approximately mid-January as needed. And that's their full post about the expansion being delayed until February 15th, 2022. Well, of course, I'm sure not a single player was excited to hear the expansion was delayed. I was very pleased with their communication after the announcement was made. They made this really detailed, frequently asked question list and answered almost every question that I'd seen asked. The big one that I did not see answered was one that I made sure to ask myself as well. I've seen a lot of you actually subscribed recently, like you maybe don't subscribe very often, or you just recently returned to the game because of the expansion, and you subscribed specifically knowing that the expansion was supposed to come out on December 14th. So I asked for players who did that, is there a chance for them to get a refund? Or even better, is there a chance for them to get the expansion for free when the expansion does come out later on next year? And there wasn't any answer about that yet. I don't know if it's because the answer is no, nothing is going to change. You subscribed, you got access to your subscriber rewards during the current month that you subscribed, so you're not really eligible for anything else. Or if maybe we'll hear something down the road. As I mentioned earlier, the feedback about the expansion has been kind of mixed. Some players, especially those who have been kind of following along closely with the test server and the feedback posts and stuff like that, are happy that it's getting delayed so that it becomes a more finished product once it actually gets released, and will be less frustrating to play because there should be less bugs, less issues once it gets launched. And of course, there's people who are just dissatisfied, frustrated, upset that the expansion isn't being launched as promised, especially being delayed so close to its launch. And I think most players are feeling a little bit of both right now. And all we can really do is cross our fingers and hope the actual launch is, well, great. I'm definitely one of those players who has been watching the changes as they happen. It definitely felt like some stuff was unfinished. I was kind of hoping they were just finishing it internally and behind the scenes, and they weren't worried about testing it with us. So I am happy that everything should be fully finished before the expansion comes out, because there are some major changes. Some of them are very cool. Some of them I'm a little worried about, but either way, they are big, major changes to multiple systems in the game. We've got the huge ability changes that are going to be touching on over 1,000 different abilities when you add up all the class abilities in the game. There's these big changes to the way the combat styles work, and that's going to touch all parts of the game, from gearing to creating your character to just plain leveling and stuff like that. And then there's so many smaller system changes coming up, like Conquest is getting a little refresh. The Galactic Seasons system is getting a huge change. The way that daily and weekly quests are counted and reset is getting completely changed. And not having all those in sync and fully functional would cause a bit of a domino effect, making everything kind of suck. So I'm glad they are taking the time to finish it, as much as I'm disappointed about the fact that, well, I was looking forward to the expansion during my holiday break, and now it's going to be later. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the expansion getting delayed, and whether you're okay with it, or whether you're frustrated about it. Let me know in the comments below. If you want to show your support for these news videos about Star Wars The Old Republic, as we're leading up to the expansion, visit Swtorista.com/support. And if you want to have more Star Wars The Old Republic videos about current and past content show up on your YouTube homepage, subscribe to this channel. And as always, may the Force be with you.